You're watching BCTV. We're all about Branford. You're watching BCTV, Branford Government Television, a service of Branford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Branford.
Today is June 7, 2023. It is now 7 o'clock. This meeting is being brought to you by remote using Zoom platform technology. Good evening. I am Fred Russo, Secretary of Planning and Zoning Commission. I am substituting this evening for our chairperson, Chuck Andrews. I would like to introduce our commissioners on the Planning and Zoning Commission. And they are, and if you can, please acknowledge you're here because we are on this remote type of technology. Joe Vayuzo.
Joe Vayuzo's here.
Joe Chadwick.
Joe Chadwick is present.
Marcy Pelusi.
Marcy's here.
Massimo Ligori.
Massimo Ligori is present.
Sharon Hutner.
Sharon Hutner is here.
And I'm Fred Russo, and also I'm here. I also would like to introduce our Planning and Zoning office staff. Our town planner is Harry Smith. Our assistant town planner is Evan Brining. And our secretary is Michelle Martin, who is taking notes at a remote location. The format of our meeting is pretty much the way it is each month. The applicant goes first, makes his or her presentation. Staff commissioners go second and get to ask questions concerning the application. Commission will then hear public comment. If you are going to make a public comment, we ask you to state your name and your address for the record. The applicant will be given additional time to further answer any questions that were presented by the staff, the commission, or the public. And at the end of the hearings, it will be determined sometime during the meeting whether or not the public hearing part of this meeting will be continued or be voted upon. Sometimes there are issues that still have not been resolved, and that would take this meeting and push it to the next one. So when we get to that point, we'll point out whether they're going to go forward or not. I would ask Harry if you could read the legal notice.
Sure. Harry Smith, Town Planner. Legal notice, Town of Branford. The Planning and Zoning Commission of the Town of Branford, Connecticut, hereby gives notice of public hearings to be held on Thursday, June 1st, 2023 at 7 p.m. by remote technology to consider the applications listed below. Information regarding how to participate in the public hearings will be provided on the Commission's meeting agenda that will be posted on the town's website at least 24 hours prior to the meeting. Number one, application number 23-4.11. Special exception for grading, section 6.8 for a single-family home located at 37 Brainerd Road. Scott Santorowski, applicant. Michael and Nancy Giuliani, owners. At said hearings, all persons will have the right to be heard. Copies are on file in the Planning and Zoning Commission's office at the Planning and Zoning Department, 1019 Main Street, Branford, Connecticut, 06405. Written communications may be sent to the above address or to Planning and Zoning at branford-ct.gov. Branford Planning and Zoning Commission, C. Andres, chairperson.
Thank you, Harry. The next thing I'd like to do is have Evan tell us how the public can access and participate in the Zoom meeting.
Sure. Down at the bottom of your screen, there's a reactions button. You can select that, then gives you the option of raise hand. Please do this if you'd like to comment or if you have any questions once Fred asks for any public participation. You can also type into the chat that you'd like to comment or just wave wave your hand in front of the screen. I'll try to catch you. We ask that everybody states their name at the beginning of their comment or question. And if you're calling in, you can press *9 to indicate that you'd like to speak.
Thank you, Evan. Before we actually start the public hearing, I'm just going to ask Harry and or Evan whether or not any of the public hearings are not going to be heard for one reason or another. Are they all going to be heard? We have 3 of them in front of us. Will they all be heard, or will some, or 1 or 2, be eliminated?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My number 1, this is for 245 East Main Street. It did receive late this afternoon an email from Jim Preddy, who's the engineer representing the applicant. He is still waiting on a couple of issues. One thing is from information from DOT. So he's requesting that the public hearing, which was already open on the 18th and continued to this meeting, be further continued to the June 15th meeting.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Harry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we have one other one, number 2. Evan, why don't you explain this one, because this was yours, if you don't mind.
117 Flaxmill Road. The applicant requires a variance. They're scheduled for the June 20th meeting. And we plan to have them back in front of you before the July 6th, or for the July 6th P&Z Commission meeting, and they have granted an extension to get to that meeting.
Thank you, Harry and Evan. So the only public hearing we're going to have today is the Michael and Nancy Giuliani application. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes. There will be one of the other business items, but that's not a public hearing item. So you're exactly right.
Right. Okay. Yeah. When we get to the old business, I guess that's what you're talking about. Let me see. So
technically, you're continuing number 1 and 2 to the you're continuing number 1 to the 6:15 meeting, and continuing the public hearing on the second one with a time extension to the July 6th meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay. Just clarify
that. Okay. So we're going to open up the public hearing. Just a quick, Harry, was there something?
No.
Okay. I was going to say that just as a quick reminder, applicants go first, staff and commission go second, public goes third, and then the applicant gets a chance to come back one more time to rebuttal or explain anything else that needs to be said. And so I guess we should open up with the first and only public hearing on 37 Brainerd Road. Is someone present to make that presentation?
Yeah, I'm Scott Santorowski. Me and my wife are the owners of S&S Properties. We're buying the land from Mike and Nancy Giuliani.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a little unprepared for this. I didn't even know we had to do this till my wife told me.
It's informal. Just feel free to say what you want to say.
I'm going to wing it. So we got our site plan from our engineer. We went to wetlands. They walked the property. We got approved. Oh no, what's going on? Oh, I guess Evan's got the site plan right there. Okay, great. So yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's on the site plan. We went back and forth. Evan went and looked at it with the grading. Gonna put the silt fence up, the hay bales behind it with 2 stakes behind each one. We built like 6 houses on properties that were worse slopes than this. I don't see it as a problem. Actually, I think these are easier to build on because you just dig out of the front and push it back. I don't know. Yeah. So this is for grading within 100 feet of the wetlands, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's 99 feet from the back it's over 100 feet from the back corner of the house, if I was right. I don't even know why I'd be back there except to grade that little area in the back. But we're going to put the silt fence, the hay bales. We're going to put the retaining wall in that the engineer put in there first before we dig, and that'll all be filled in and probably like hayed before we even start putting the foundation in. So we did one on we did one on Matthew Road that was the same slope. There was no wetlands, but we had all the site work and the foundation in within 2.5 weeks. So I don't see any disruption. The only thing I could see is turning the machine around within the 100 feet and, a little bit of grading that's got to get done back there. But to me, it doesn't seem like an issue.
Okay, I guess the best person to ask is probably our town planner with a staff report on the property.
Okay.
Yeah, I wrote the report. So, like Scott had discussed, they are proposing to split the existing lot into 2 lots and have a single family home on each one of them. They are proposing some regrading to meet our compliance for the 3-to-1 slope, and that, along with the deck in the rear of the house, are within the 100-foot buffer area, and that's what's triggering the special exception today. I'll show you guys both of the site plans. They meet the bulk requirements of the R1 zoning district. I added a condition to confirm the height of each of the homes. It was missing from the site plans, but that can be taken care of before a certificate of occupancy can be handed out. They did add some landscaping like Mr. Santorowski had described for us in the back after Inland Wetland Commission approval. They satisfy the off-street parking requirements. No lighting information was provided with this application, but I've made a condition that they have to meet the requirements of our lighting section 6.7. They have provided erosion control measures, some silt fencing in the very rear of the activity. Their proposed slopes meet our 3-to-1 ratio requirement. They also put a stockpile area on their site plans. They received Inland Wetland Commission approval originally in December of 2022 and had that approval modified on May 8th of this year. And based on the application materials, they meet the special exception criteria of section 9.8F. Staff recommends 4 conditions. Prior to the start of construction, erosion control measures shall be installed to the satisfaction of the zoning enforcement officer. Any lighting has to be compliant with section 6.7. Prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, the applicant shall provide an as-built survey confirming the 2 proposed homes meet the height requirement for the R1 district. The applicant actually already confirmed with me this afternoon that they are going to meet that requirement. So it's just a matter of adding it to the plan. And then the final one is prior to the issuance of a zoning permit or a building permit, the existing lot shall be split into 2 proposed lots as depicted on sheet 1 entitled Property Survey / Lot Split Map dated August 10th, 2022.
Thank you, Evan. Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak on this application? Evan, anybody that you see hands up?
I do not see anyone, but just to reiterate, down at the bottom of your screen, there's a reactions button, and you can select that, and then further select raise hand if you'd like to comment or ask any questions.
Okay, so we'll ask one more time. Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak on this application?
I do not see anyone, Fred.
Any commissioners that have a comment that they'd like to make?
I would. It's Marcy.
Marcy, go ahead.
Hi. I just, because we're in the upland review area in the back, I think that would be an important area to try to plant native species in particular. I'm less concerned about the front foundation planting, but I think it would be good to encourage, native. They proposed some shrubs. They didn't specify what to put there, but things like Ilex reticulata or some viburnum or, things that would attract some native wildlife that might be traveling through that wetland corridor it would just help encourage that upland review area. So that's my only comment that I would encourage the homeowner to abide by. I don't know whether that needs to be a condition of approval or not, but.
Scott, did the Inland Wetland Commission already have you guys?
Yeah, we had a
list.
Yeah, we had to tell them specific plants. We have to get a plant scientist to come out and maintain and a bond and have them maintain the plants for 3 years. So yeah, that's all been taken care of. And there were species that they said that they wanted for the wetlands, so they should be appropriate.
Scott, Fred Russo.
How you doing?
If you have anything else that you would like to add before we close the public hearing, please feel free to say whatever it is you need to say.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you approve us. I mean, we built a lot of houses. We built 6 of them that were on slopes worse than that in New Haven, East Haven, and Branford. It's not a problem. And you know, we're not one of those builders that takes a year or 2 years to build a house. It'll be done on the outside first because I don't want any problems with the wetlands or with the neighbors. So we get the outside done first. We should be done with the outside within a month and a half, including the siding, windows, roofing, whatever, driveways, whatever. I mean, aside from, you know, like the water hookup and the sewer, that might take some time, but that's going to be in front of the property.
Okay. Thank you very much, Scott. If there are no other questions to be asked, Harry, do you think we can close this public hearing?
Harry Smith, Town Planner. Yeah, I think everything seems to be in order. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's consider it closed, and then we'll deliberate on this a little later on in the meeting. Let's see. What is the next thing here? The approval of the minutes. Are there any? I asked our commissioners. Are there any questions or any objections to the of approving the minutes of Thursday, May 18, 2023? Anybody has any objections or additions to the minutes? Seeing there are none, I would like to have someone make a motion to accept the minutes.
Chadwick will move to approve.
A second.
Ayuso seconds.
Okay. Harry, you know what we need to do? I think we need to determine who are going to be the 5 commissioners voting on this. Joe Vayuzo's here, Joe Chadwick, Marcy, myself. I think we have to decide, and you probably know better than anyone, whether it's Marcy or Sharon.
I guess maybe the important thing to do is jump ahead to the next item to consider who is here through all the portions of the public hearing for the application regarding McDonald's at 424, 436 West Main Street. And our record keeping has, I think Massimo was here for all the sessions that it was discussed at. So probably to be consistent, he might be filling in for Chuck in terms of being voting as a full member.
Okay, and Sharon did not attend, just to make sure.
Sharon, I think, was left early on the 4th, right, Sharon?
I left early on the 4th and I was not here last meeting.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, all right, let's just make sure we get it right. Thank you, Sharon. So the voting members is going to be Joe Vayuzo, Joe Chadwick, Marcy, Massimo, and myself. So let me go through the roll. Joe Vayuzo, how do you vote? Joe, you there?
Yeah, he's
Here.
We're voting on the minutes, Joe.
Voting on.
Voting on the minutes of the last meeting to approve them.
Move to approve. I vote yes.
Joe Chadwick,
Joe Chadwick, Joe Chadwick votes yes.
Marcy Pelosi,
Marcy votes yes.
Massimo Ligori,
Massimo votes yes.
and Fred Russo. I say yes also. So the minutes were approved from the last meeting. Let's see. Approval meeting. Harry, do we have any correspondence?
Harry Smith, Town Planner. No, we do not this week.
This is going to be an easy meeting today. All right. So now we can deliberate on the one public hearing that we do have. And we heard from our town planner, assistant town planner, I should say, and we heard from the commissioners. Does any of the commissioners have any additional comments that they would like to make before we vote on this?
Excuse me, Joe Chadwick speaking. Yeah, the only thing I would recommend is that the full zoning recitals be brought into the drawings before the permit and as a condition of the permit being issued, and that makes it easier on the certificate of occupancy side, rather than having to reconcile that stuff. So it's just a matter of bureaucratic housekeeping. But when the permit is issued, the drawing should come in with the full set of zoning recitals indicating compliance. That's all.
Okay, Harry, you okay with that?
I'm going to defer to Evan. I think it makes sense to me.
Evan too, yes.
Yeah, sure. I'll make the change to the language right now.
Okay, so other than that, Joe's comment, we can take a vote on this, I guess. So I will again ask Joe Vayuso. How do you vote, Joe?
Brad, I make a motion to approve the
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to approve?
And Joe Chadwick will second Marcy's motion.
Thank you very much.
But technically, Harry Smith, town planner, can jump in a second. I think Evan is crafting some words to follow up with Joe Chadwick's
You would like to hear it first?
It sounds like everyone's in agreement with it, but before you actually vote, maybe just make sure everyone is okay with the words.
Okay.
And there they are.
All right. That's like magic.
It is like magic.
Really?
So it just changed prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy to prior to the issuance of a zoning permit or the zoning authorization for the issuance of a building permit. The following shall be confirmed for each of the properties subject to this application, to satisfaction of the ZEO or town planner or designee. And that is that the applicant shall, let me change that.
No, I'd leave A.
Yeah, but that, it says an as-built, so that.
That's right. At the end of the project as a condition of the certificate of occupancy. So I think there is a requirement.
They're pretty much doing that now, Joe. I'm finding on my projects. Okay. Anyway, even if we're not, we haven't specifically conditioned it in the approvals.
Yeah, Harry Smith, town planner, that's a requirement of the zoning permit closeout process, basically.
Oh, okay.
Where something like that's involved, yeah. So we could change it around and have that information beyond the plan before building permit gets issued, which is what I understood you were getting at, right?
Right, but that's probably required anyway.
Not necessarily. I mean, having the zoning, so we want the maximum height that they're going to build it to. I don't know if there's anything else missing in terms of all the information that's supposed to be on the zoning table.
Hey, Harry, it's Marcy again.
Yeah.
Is there a requirement that the two lots are recorded prior to the issuance of the building permit? Just so that when they start to build, that's already been separated?
Yep, that's condition 4. And even if they were to submit building permits, they wouldn't be able to submit permits for 2 single-family homes on one lot. So,
right, but so that they, in order to get the building permit, the record subdivision has to be filed on Mylar.
Yeah, it's just a first split, but you're right, exactly right. Yeah,
or first split, I should say. Yeah.
Yep.
Are we good at Fred Russo? Are we good at that language?
Yeah, I altered that that item number or item A to read the applicant shall alter the site plan. Let's introduce that. The site plan so as to confirm the 2 proposed single-family homes are compliant with the maximum permitted height in the R1 zoning district per section 348A. 34A8.
Or just notate on the site plan what the heights are.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly what we're looking for.
The heights to confirm conformance with the requirements. Or compliant,
Yeah, I think that's what we were looking for, was what the actual height's going to be. So we can check it and make sure, right?
I don't think you need the so as.
Yes, you are right.
Looks good to me.
Evan, we good with all this?
Yeah, you guys ready?
So if we are, then I'm going to go back to the taking a vote. I think Marcy made the motion. I believe Joe Chadwick seconded it. And I'm going to ask all those in favor. Joe Vayuso?
Joe Vayuso in favor.
Joe Chadwick?
Chadwick in the affirmative.
Marcy Paluzzi?
Marcy's in favor.
Massimo Ligori?
Massimo's in favor.
Fred Russo also is in favor, so passes unanimously. And congratulations to the applicant. Next, we have, let's see, old business? Yeah, I think we have old business. Let me make sure. Yes. So we have old business. Harry, is there anything you want to mention about, I know especially McDonald's, that's been a bit.
Yeah, Harry Smith, Town Planner. We were waiting for a check to cover the cost of the peer review of the traffic study. We do have that now in hand, and I believe Evan has prepared a finding and some conditions that he can explain based upon the deliberations that the commission had at its last meeting, essentially as a straw vote in favor, as I recall. Yes. So we've gone ahead and prepared the following wording to put that into place if someone wants to make a motion or adjust it as you wish before you vote. So Evan, do you want to explain this for us?
Yeah, sure. I'll just quickly go through the findings and conditions. The only finding we have is that the commission finds that based on the testimony and application materials, the proposed use of the property is consistent with the special exception criteria. Then we have 4 conditions prior to start of construction. Erosion control measures shall be installed to the satisfaction of the ZEO. Condition 2 would require any lighting to be compliant with section 6.7. Condition number 3, to ensure continued compliance with the zoning regulations, all landscaping must be maintained as an ongoing requirement of this approval to ensure the survival of the landscaping. And condition number 4 is that all conditions of the previous approval shall remain in full force and effect as they may still apply.
Thank you, Evan. So, Harry, with this, do we need to take a vote on this?
Harry Smith, Town Planner. Yes, you would. And I believe the applicant has been shown this. Unfortunately, with the public hearing being closed, they can't confirm that. But I believe these are standard conditions. So,
okay, so we should then take a vote tonight.
Yep.
Okay, so let's do that. Will someone make a motion to accept this? The McDonald's proposed findings and conditions.
Marcy will make a motion to approve and accept as presented.
Okay, any second?
Chadwick will second.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Okay, Joe Vayuzo.
Joe Vayuzo in favor to approve it.
Joe Chadwick.
Chadwick in the affirmative.
Marcia Pelusi.
Marcy in favor.
Massimo Ligori.
Massimo's in favor.
Fred Russo's in favor. So again, passed unanimously. That's good. Harry, do you want to speak to the other 2 applicants or applications?
Sure. Harry Smith, Town Planner. The next 2 applications are scheduled for public hearings on the next meeting on the 15th. So that takes us to new business. We have 2 on the agenda itself. The application of 107, 109 Monowee Street. So there's a standing motion to allow staff and the chair to set the public hearing. We need to look at the plan, which kind of just came in the office, and get clear about what's being proposed. And we can talk to Chuck when he gets back about when the public hearing would be. Number 2, since it seems relatively straightforward, Evan has gone ahead and prepared a staff report. I believe that he sent out earlier, I think today. So I will turn it over to him on that one. And that was just so everyone is aware, so we don't forget. There's a 3rd application that just came in today for the town of Branford to add a fueling depot to the back of the fire headquarters at 45 North Main Street. That require 3 special exceptions. We're going to schedule that tentatively for June 15th and go ahead and put that. We have to actually put it in the New Haven Register to keep the project on track. So just to let you know that we have to add that to the agenda. Actually, technically, you don't need to add the agenda because it's already in the office and it'll just show up as a public hearing on the agenda on the 15th, actually. But you could add it to the agenda if you want to. But so with that, move back to new business number 2, and Evan can explain what's going on. And I don't know who is representing is it Dennis Pantini? I don't know who's here representing that. I'll try to make them a co-host. Or is
you've
it,
actually already made Tony
is
Thompson.
it Tony Thompson? Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And just before I share my screen and let Tony get started, they are proposing to slightly relocate the existing single-family home and elevate it out of the floodplain. And that relocation is also to eliminate some nonconformities. I believe the house was in one of the side setbacks. I'll show you guys that right now. But Tony, do you want to give a little description of what you guys have planned?
Sure. I'm in a spot where my video isn't working, but can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Hi, Tony Thompson from Plans Ahead. As Harry mentioned, this is a fairly routine lift. It's a house lift of an existing home on Summer Island Point. Smaller home, is in a flood elevation. It's on the back side or the south side of the lagoon, they call it back there, way down the end of Boston Park. We're currently doing a similar project on the other side of the lagoon, so we're pretty familiar with what it takes. One of the big things I think we're trying to do here, because we're lifting the house pretty much in kind, just as it is, we're also going to take that opportunity to shift the house in two directions, north and west, to get it inside the actual permitted building line. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone. We're going to lift the house and make it flood compliant, and we're going to shift it inside the permitted building line. It does crowd the boundary now on the right side. It's kind of an unusual situation where there is actually a common garage. We're not touching that. It's not attached to either structure, but we are hoping to get a little more harmony down there by moving the house away from that garage and away from the adjacent house and getting it inside the building line. We're going to raise it a couple of feet higher than we need to raise it. We are going to take that opportunity to get parking below that, the house as it's up in the air. We don't really plan on any other expansion of the living area. Obviously, we are going to need an extended staircase with a landing to the front door. But that's really it. That's really the only expansion beyond the house going up and shifting into the building envelope. I think that's really it, if someone has any questions.
Well, does anybody have any questions? Any commissioners have any questions about this? Tony, would you have to add anything else? Would you like to add anything else?
No, I mean, this was kind of part of the process. We've got a couple of houses, similar projects in the queue there. So we're hoping everything goes smoothly and we make the rest of the houses that haven't been lifted, safe and secure down there.
It looks good. So we'll see you at another meeting, I guess.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Harry, I have a question for you. Under old business, there was two other applications. Are we going to discuss those or no?
Harry, you're muted.
Sorry about that. They are scheduled for a public hearing on the 15th. Okay. And before we lose Tony Thompson, actually, Evan, I probably wasn't totally clear. Evan's gone ahead and prepared a staff report. So commission's comfortable. You could act on this application tonight. He's got it teed up for you to do that. And you can just go through whatever staff comments he has and whatever conditions he's come up with. If you want to do that.
Well, how about if Evan goes over the staff report first?
Yep. Okay.
We'll the commissioners.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. So like Tony had described for us, they're planning to elevate and relocate the home so as to be compliant with the floodplain management ordinance, as well as our zoning regulations. An existing concrete wall separates the critical coastal resource at the rear of the property from the rest of this property. They meet the bulk requirements of the R1 district. However, they did not provide an exact height for the home. The site plan indicates it'll be roughly 32 feet. So I introduced that same condition that we did for 37 Brainerd earlier tonight, and that an as-built will have to be provided, confirming the height, but we can also alter that language just like we did for the earlier application. The applicant did not provide a landscaping plan. They satisfied the off-street parking requirement. No lighting information has been provided, but I've included the condition that any lighting has to be compliant with section 6.7. The commission would need to find that the soil erosion and sediment control measures proposed on this plan, which you can see the silt fencing goes around the entirety of the project and only partially goes through this existing detached garage that they have in the property right here where my mouse is. So the commission will need to find that the measures proposed, to the extent that they are alternatives from those in the Connecticut DEEP 2002 guidelines for soil erosion and sediment control, are acceptable. The applicant meets the criteria of section 9.7, and staff recommends one finding, that the coastal site plan is consistent with the Coastal Area Management Act, along with 3 conditions. Condition 1 is that prior to the start of construction, erosion control measures shall be installed. Condition 2 is that section 6.7 lighting regulations shall have to be met for any proposed lighting. And condition 3 is that prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, the applicant shall provide an as-built confirming the proposed single family home is compliant with the maximum permitted height and all other applicable standards of the R1 zoning district. But if you guys would like to alter that language once again, please let me know and I'll get started on it.
Does any commissioners have any questions about this application? Evan, we don't have any raised hands or anybody in the queue?
No, I do not see anyone at this time.
Okay, so I guess we could close this matter. Harry, can we close this matter?
Harry Smith, town planner. I think you can. It's just a cam, so it's a little, less formal than the public hearing, but sure. Seems like it's all set. There is a chat question. I'll take a look at that.
Want to check that out first?
These meetings need to be, this is about the general process about the meetings, so that's got nothing to do with this application. So
again, I'll ask, is any other commissioner have a question? If not, I would ask someone to make a motion that we accept this application.
Before we do that, did the commission want me to alter the language of that 3rd condition?
For the sake of consistency, it may be worth it.
Yes.
I don't mean to punish initiative, but you did ask.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Certainly did. So here I just changed that to prior to the issuance of a zoning permit or the zoning authorization for the issuance of a building permit, the following shall be confirmed let's change that for property subject to this application. I'm just going to remove that language in its entirety. Following shall be confirmed to the satisfaction of the zoning enforcement officer. The applicant shall what was that language we used last time? Let's see.
We'll just say shall confirm is fine.
Shall confirm the proposed single-family home is compliant with the maximum permitted height and all other applicable standards of the R1 zoning district per section 3(4)(a). And I'll just change that. And then this condition will be eliminated. All right.
Were you able to use your card? Were you able to use your Apple Pay?
All right. Any suggestions, or would you like to move forward with this?
And I'm getting a message on my screen. Are you getting the same thing? Someone asking a question in the chat.
It's about Harry Smith, Town Planner. It's about the how you're holding the meeting. The Sony from the office. Who's going to pay my house? Oh, 37A Brainerd. That was already voted on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we went by that. So the other message I've got is about having the meetings in person versus on Zoom, which we've talked about several times. And it's got nothing to do with this application. So.
Okay. So does anyone else, commissioners, have any other questions about this before we take a vote on it? Seeing that there are none, will someone make a motion that we accept this application?
Chadwick will make that motion to approve.
We have a second.
Marcy will second it.
Okay. Let's take a vote. Joe Vayuza.
Vayuza approves.
Joe Chadwick.
Joe Chadwick approves.
Marcy Paluzzi.
Marcy approves.
Massimo Ligori.
Massimo approves.
Fred Russo approves too. So unanimous. Okay, well, that brings us down to other business. Harry, we're on other business, I think.
We are on other business. I think you're right. Harry Smith, Town Planner. Really have not a whole lot to report. I did want to just grab onto it here. I'm not going to comment one way or the other on this proposed bill, but there were several different bills in the legislature which are kind of, everybody's rushing to a conclusion at this point regarding housing and potentially impacting municipalities and how they do plan for and try to create affordable housing. So there's something called a fair share proposal. I've just looked at this late this afternoon. There were several bills, I guess, that are sort of been combined, and it's frankly in process as we speak, I think. But I will tell you see if I can find the number of the bill. You know, I will send it actually out, but I believe it's House Bill 6781. But that number might have changed. So I'll take a look at that and send that out to everyone, just so you're aware of it. Not that, if anybody wants to comment on it, you're certainly, of course, completely welcome to do that. Talk to your state reps, state senators. But at this point, I'll just send you what I've got in an email, just so everyone has it on their radar, is aware of it. And I will follow up with the attendance at different training programs, and our recording secretary and administrative assistant, Michelle Martin, has been keeping track of who's reported in terms of attending various programs and things. So we'll just send that around for folks, and so everyone can, if there's something you've done that we don't have a record of, you can give it to us and we can try to track it for everyone.
Is there anything, Massimo Ligori here, Harry? Is there anything coming up soon by any chance that you know of?
We did get a request for a second conceptual review of the application that was the former Amazon site. So they would like to come back in, and I've talked to the chair about it, and he's amenable to doing it at the next meeting on the 15th. They have one more conceptual review. So we've got a couple other projects that are sort of perking away in the background. And we'll see what happens to them. But I mean, we did one down in Bourbon Drive. We haven't heard back about that. There was a conceptual review. There's been ideas about redeveloping the Regal Cinema property. And a couple other things, but I hesitate to announce some of these things out loud because people ask and then they go away, nothing happens, and sometimes people don't like it to really come out until they're sort of ready to present it.
Harry,
Nice to
sometime,
think Amazon might come back.
Fred,
Well, hey, you never know.
Amazon was here, we passed it and it went away, so.
Exactly. Well, that's true. That's very true. Yeah. Evan, I don't know if you have anything you want to add that I'm forgetting.
Nope.
Okay. Anything anybody want to discuss?
How about you, Harry? Do you have a planner's report or?
Well, that was pretty much it.
Okay. All right. Let's make sure.
I've got some minor reviews that I've done. One is for, actually I'm asking questions about it down at the, can't remember the name of it. It's down at 56 Stony Creek Road, which is that old school that they've repurposed. They're going to take that barn in the front of it, if everyone's familiar, and rebuild that and make it, put an addition on it. So I'll probably be doing that as a minor. There's the things about the application I've asked to get more information on, but that's hanging out there. And there are a couple other things that I can catch you guys up in the next meeting, but I don't have a whole list in front of me.
Okay. So, is there anything else we need to discuss before I ask to adjourn?
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Marcy.
Yeah, I've noticed in the last few meetings, there's been something coming forth about the landscape regulation from Shirley.
Yes. Yep.
Who are they, and is that for our landscape reg? And what is the nature of that? And isn't that something that's generally, promoted internally? Is it coming from another committee or something? Or I've just been
this has been brewing a long, long time. It's been something I've been working on very part-time with the two applicants. And you may recall that there was some ideas about what they may want to propose doing that came together maybe a year and a half ago. And I believe I had a little sat down with you and Fred Russo actually about it. And, given all the activity that's happened in the last year and a half, staffing changes, everything else, finally worked with them. It's their ideas that I've sort of technically put in a format for an application to amend the regulations, but anybody can make an application to amend the zoning regulations. So, it's certainly something the commission can do. But in this case, these two individuals have decided to go ahead and put a lot of time and effort into proposing things that you guys can consider. So that's going to be cited a public hearing on the 15th, and I will get that out as soon as I can.
It's been so long, I don't remember, what some of the.
Oh, yeah. I think it's going to certainly be more than one meeting, and you're going to have to go through it. And, it'll just, the next meeting, probably just, presentations, some questions. And then I think everyone certainly wants some time to digest it and,
Okay, so you don't want to open that up tonight.
Well, we can't because we can't, the public hearing is set for next meeting.
Okay, I understand it. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Any other questions by any other commissioners? If none, I just want to say a quick thank you to the staff in the commission for having patience with me. This is the first time I've ever done it. Chuck makes it look a lot easier than it really is. A lot more prep goes into than may appear sometimes on the screen. So I just want to say a quick thank you to everybody. But I will now, and I'm kind of proud of it. It's not 8 o'clock yet, and it's one of our earlier meetings. But will some be willing to make a motion to adjourn our meeting?
Before I quickly jump in, Harry Smith, Town Planner, Fred, I just want to thank you for jumping in and running the meeting. I really appreciate it. I know Chuck does, even though he's not here tonight. So thank you.
Marcy, it could have been you.
I am so grateful to you right now, Fred.
It's
excellent job. Better than I ever could have.
It's a good thing to do, actually. I don't want to say I had fun doing it, but I think it's a good learning thing. But anyway, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Marcy makes a motion. We have a second.
Massimo Ligori seconds.
Hey, Massimo seconds it. Joe Vayuza.
Joe Vayuza approves.
Joe Chadwick.
Joe Chadwick in the affirmative.
Marcy Pelosi.
Marcy approves.
Massimo Ligori.
Massimo approves.
And Fred Russo also approves. Good night and thank you, everybody.
Hey, guys. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Well done.
We're done.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Branford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.